Chapter 26, Section 4, The Activist Warren Court. The Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Earl Warren, also played a role in reshaping American society during the 1960s. By reinterpreting much of what had been settled law, the Warren Court became known as an activist court. Ensuring one person, one vote. The Warren Court decided two important cases that changed the political landscape. The first, Baker v. Carr, began when Charles Baker, a Republican citizen of Tennessee, sued Joe Carr, the Secretary of State of Tennessee, because the state had not redrawn its legislative districts in 5 decades. During that time, many rural families had migrated to cities. As a result, Baker's urban district had more residents than some rural districts, but the number of representatives did not reflect that increase. Baker claimed that this imbalance violated his 14th Amendment right to equal protection under the laws. The Supreme Court had treated reapportionment, redrawn voting district boundaries to reflect population changes, as a matter for state legislatures to decide. But in 1962, after long deliberation, the Warren Court rejected that stance, ruling that reapportionment was a question for federal courts to consider. The court returned to reapportionment in the case of Reynolds v. Sims. In his majority opinion, Chief Justice Warren wrote, "A citizen, a qualified voter, is no more or no less so because he lives in the city or on the farm. This is the clear and strong command of our Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. This is at the heart of Lincoln's vision of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The Equal Protection Clause demands no less than substantially equal state legislative representation for all citizens, of all places, as well as of all races." As a result, legislative districts across the country were redrawn following the principle of one person, one vote. That is, each legislature would represent roughly the same number of people, allowing each person's vote to count equally. Ruling on prayer in public schools. In 1962, the court considered the role of prayer in public schools. The case of Engel v. Vitale arose when state officials, including William Vitale, ordered New York schools to have students recite a morning prayer. Parents, led by Stephen Engel, sued the state, claiming that the prayer violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. This clause states that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. The Supreme Court agreed with the parents. It found that state-sponsored prayer in schools, even if voluntary, was unconstitutional because it was wholly inconsistent with the Establishment Clause. This controversial decision sparked efforts to amend the Constitution to permit prayers in public schools. Protecting the rights of the accused. Another series of Warren Court rulings reshaped the criminal justice system. In the case of Mapp v. Ohio involved a woman, Dalry Mapp, who'd been convicted of a crime based on evidence found during an illegal police search of her home. The court ruled in 1961 that evidence obtained illegally may not be used in court. In Gideon v. Wainwright, defendant Clarence Gideon had not had the money to hire a lawyer. Forced to defend himself, he had been found guilty and sent to prison. In 1964, the court ruled that Gideon's Sixth Amendment right to an attorney had been violated. As a result, courts now provide public defendants to people who are accused of a crime but who cannot afford a lawyer. In another 1964 case, Escobedo v. Illinois, police had denied a murder suspect, Danny Escobedo, an opportunity to speak to a lawyer during questioning. Escobedo eventually confessed to the crime and was convicted. The court overturned the conviction because Escobedo's constitutional right to be represented by a lawyer after his arrest had been violated. In a 1966 case, Miranda v. Arizona, the court ruled that the police must inform the suspects of their rights before questioning. A suspect must be told, wrote Warren, that he has the right to remain silent, that any statement he does make may be used as evidence against him, and that he has a right to the presence of an attorney. These protections are called Miranda rights after the defendant. Americans hotly debated these and other Warren Court rulings. Some critics called on Congress to impeach Chief Justice Warren. Of all 3 branches of government, argued Senator Barry Goldwater, today's Supreme Court is the least faithful to the constitutional tradition of limited government. Others praised the Warren Court for doing what Congress had failed to do: protect the rights guaranteed to every citizen by the Constitution.